I know a lot of people are super nervous about negotiating salary, and you don't need to be. It's completely normal to negotiate. And I'm going to give you tips and tricks and some strategies to help you do it in the right way to negotiate the best deal that you possibly can. Negotiating is normal. We negotiate our whole lives, whether we're negotiating for like more sweets when you're a kid, you're trying to get one for your parents. Throughout life, right? You're trying to negotiate. You're trying to negotiate relationships. You're trying to negotiate this, that. I mean, it's completely normal. And you should try and develop those skills early on. And it's normal to do. Because, a lot of people, they feel a little bit uncomfortable negotiating. It doesn't have to be. So get your mindset right. Because when you're talking about salaries and when you're talking about money, and it's difficult to talk about money. Most people find it very difficult. You're talking about how much you're going to earn and all of that stuff, right? So people get a bit emotional and all of that. So get your head right and your mindset right. It's normal to negotiate. So how do you go about doing it? And so with context of work, for me, there's so much information around now that you should know your worth in the market. Do your research. Jump on LinkedIn, jump on Glassdoor, anywhere, go on Perplexity, Google, anywhere you'd like to do your research. Gemini, ChatGPT, so many ways now. And by and large, you can find out what your worth is for the job that you're doing, in the location that you're in the industry that you're in. I mean, you can go like micro, right? Like you can really find out. And in some countries, companies have to publish their pay range on the job descriptions. The US is a good example. It's going to come in Europe at some point soon too. So a lot of info out. So the thing with negotiating is you want to go in like really well prepared. And so you've done your research, your mind's, you're ready to do it. You've built rapport. It's the other thing, you've built rapport with this person already. So you've been interviewing. Maybe it's through a headhunter. So you've been speaking with the headhunter, the recruiter for a lot. And you're going through all these interviews, you've build up a good relationship with the people that you're meeting. And then it comes down to, right, how much do you want? What's it going to take to get you? How much is it going to take to get you to move from your perfectly good job that you're in now to this one? Or you're out of work. So, your mind might be a little different, but what's it going to take? Like, what do you want to earn? You might have other options. There's loads of stuff going on, right? Also, money might not be the most important thing for you, but still, you've got a range that you want, and there's all these other things too, right? Maybe flexibility, maybe you take a little bit less, 5 days in the office, you want a bit more, if traveling, whatever it is, right? But decide what's important to you. So you've done your research, you know what you're worth, you know what's important to you, you've written it down, and then you're going into negotiations. There's a whole raft of ways to do it. But off the bat for me, and this is classic, is you want to kind of have 3 numbers in your mind almost, right? It's your stretch target. It's like, I'd really like to get that. You have one stretch target. Then you've got your ideal. So really, based on, all the stuff, all the research I've done, this is what I want to be earning. And if I get that, do you know what? Yeah, that's my worth, I think, for what I'm doing, the level and all of that stuff. And then you have a walk away. So do you know what? Anything below X, I'm out. Like I'm passing. So you have that in your mind and you know what those numbers are. Then you go into an interview scenario and you're going to get some different questions. So the recruiter might ask you, and this is like a third party recruiter, what are you looking for? And you then have a choice. You can either you can say what you want. You can give a range. So, I want 100 to 120. You can give a number. Mr. Recruiter, I'm looking for 130. Let's say that's your stretch, right? So you go, hey, I want 130. So you give the recruiter your stretch, or in the interviews, they might say, what's it going to take to get you? The question's coming from someone. So I'm a bit of a fan of the problem with the range. Let me tell you, the problem with the range is if you do 100 to 120, you're anchoring whoever you've said that to on the bottom end. So it's unlikely they're going to come in at 120. Maybe. Some companies want to knock it out of the park. But but you're anchoring them on 100 because you're basically saying to them, do you know what, I'm cool with 100. And so you could give a number. So that could be your stretch target. You don't want to price yourself out. So this is based on all the research you've done. I'd really, I'm looking for 130, in your mind, you'd take 120 and anything less than 110, you're out, and also just be clear on what they're talking about here. Basic salary, total package, you've got to take everything into account. So don't get caught in the trap of just looking at your basic salary, although it's important. Clearly, depending on the stage of career, life you're at, mortgages are based on base, total earnings, whatever. So to make sure that you've done your research, again, you're comfortable with what you're letting them know that you want. And think about what the other elements are. The bonus, the shares, whatever it might be, flexible working, take everything into account, and you go in and you can give a number. The other thing you could say, which I really like, which a few folks I know who have negotiated salaries really well for themselves have done, said, look, I'm interviewing for jobs that are paying between 120 and 150. I'm looking for something like that. It implies that you're in demand because you're interviewing for other jobs. You've given them a range. This is true. But you've also implied that some of these companies are at the top of that range. So if they want you, they're going to have to they're going to have to not mess around. So that's quite a nice way to do it. And so there's some options. But to sum this up, it's normal to negotiate. You can do it in a nice way. Build a relationship and rapport with people up front, off the bat. If you have a good rapport with someone, it makes these kinds of conversations much easier, especially if you usually find them difficult. When you're armed with research and you know what the score is, you know what you're worth, all of that, again, it makes it easier because you're coming from a place of knowledge and you can speak with some authority. And again, you'll be in a much better position. And then if you're clear with these numbers, stretch target, ideal, walk away, then again, you have a little bit of a framework to then negotiate around. And then this question's coming up. This is going to happen at some point. So be prepared. And if you do that, you'll be in a really good spot. Hope that helps. Good luck and see you all soon.